Could the day be any more glorious? And could you be any more beautiful? I thank God. Thank you to President Helene D. Gale, the Spelman College Board of Trustees, and the Commencement Committee, as well as Spelman's senior leadership, faculty, and staff, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to address you as the Spelman class of 2024. In thinking about what I wanted to say as you take your first big step into this next chapter of your life, I couldn't help but think about my own daughter and son who will be stepping onto college campuses in the next few months as freshmen. They will begin the journey that you have just completed. And I couldn't be more excited. I am as excited for them as I am for you. And to be here at Spelman College, the Mecca of Black excellence and Black womanhood. It is truly an honor. Remember what it was like when you were deciding what college you would attend. A lot of work and hard thought went into choosing where you wanted to be, where you'd spend these formative years, what felt right to you and for you, as you were making one of the most important decisions of your life. You were juggling the end of high school as you prepared for college, but then one day, you received that powder blue envelope that spoke into existence that you would be entering an esteemed institution of higher education, the very one established for Black women to be nurtured, educated, to be inspired, encouraged, to be loved and celebrated. Spelman College is the higher education equivalent of Wakanda. It's where we're the decision makers and the captains, the innovators and the queens of our own destiny. This place, this special place, has prepared you for greatness. And now it's up to you to decide what your contributions to this planet will be. Now, many of you know me as a successful actor, director, producer, and you may have seen me on television, film, and perhaps on the stage. However, to only see my life through that lens would be equivalent to turning in a partially completed paper, assuming that it was a completed assignment. So please, allow me a few moments to fill in some of the blanks. As a girl who grew up in St. Petersburg, Florida, raised by a mother who demanded nothing less than excellence from her daughters, my sister and I, who's with me here today, were taught from a young age to dream bigger than what we saw around us every day. One of my mother's favorite things to say to us was, "I don't have average children." Being Betty Bassett's daughter meant that there were expectations that I would make something of my life. But I didn't know what that could mean until one day on a typical school trip to Washington, D.C. I watched the legendary James Earl Jones in Of Mice and Men, a stage production at the Kennedy Center. And I knew at that very moment that acting was what I wanted to do. I wanted to make people feel the way that I felt. Human, seen. But you see, my career did not begin on the location of some glamorous film set or on some big sound stage. I started acting at the St. Petersburg Little Theater in a production of The Great Sebastians while in high school. The fire ignited in me was so fierce that it fueled each day. And when I graduated from college with a BA in African American Studies, my family was very proud as yours is of you today. I was proud. I was on my way. I decided to go to graduate school to focus on what I knew my calling to be: imaginative. A black girl from a working class family in St. Petersburg who just graduated from Yale. She does not put that degree to use by becoming an actress. The questions in my household quickly centered on how I was gonna make a living. I was supposed to go to law school or become a scientist or a doctor, anything but an artist. Despite my family's clear objectives, I decided to pursue that path at the time when it was not clear what might realistically be possible, because, to their point, black women were not often present or presented in a significant way on television or the big screen. But still, I was going to work hard and fight like hell for the opportunity to do what I knew was my purpose. I recently received an honorary Oscar from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. And during my acceptance remarks, I shared with the audience a story about Hattie McDaniel. And I'll share a little of that with you today because it reflects my family's fears and my own uncertainties at that time about what was potentially ahead for me. February 29th, 1940, the 12th Annual Academy Award Ceremony. Hattie McDaniel became the first black person to ever win an Oscar. It was a groundbreaking moment. Before Miss McDaniel took the stage, the actress Faye Bainter said, "It is more than a plaque of gold. It opens the doors of this room. It moves back walls and enables us to embrace the whole of America. An America that almost alone in the world today recognizes and pays tribute to those who have given their best, regardless of creed, race, or color." And it was at this point when Miss McDaniel walked from the back of the Coconut Grove restaurant, past the tables up front, where her fellow Gone with the Wind castmates and studio executives were seated, that she historically tore down a barrier, making it possible for black actresses to be seen and recognized at the highest levels of our industry. It would be another 50 years before another black woman would win an Oscar. The extraordinary woman being my dear sister friend, Whoopi Goldberg, in 1990. 1 year before a director named John Singleton and the film Boys in the Hood would change my life. See, timing is everything. Up until then, it was far from easy for me. I worked odd jobs in between constantly auditioning. I was told no. I didn't receive a call back. I didn't ace every audition. Doors closed, but still, no matter what, there was and still remains no job or role that is any less or more important than the other. Every single opportunity matters. I refuse to allow a dream deferred to become a dream declined. Now that you know a little about me, let's talk about what today means for you. Because Spelman's roots are historically tied to faith and education, I want to point to a biblical text, if you'll allow. I watched a sermon by the executive minister of the historical Abyssinia Baptist Church in Harlem a week ago today on Mother's Day. And Reverend Hagen centered it on Luke chapter 8, verse 40 through 48. And he titled his sermon, "The Unnamed Black Woman." This is especially relevant today because the story focuses on a woman who's been unseen by her community, locked away in isolation for 12 years because of a disease that brought about a constant hemorrhage. And when she learned that Jesus was coming to her area, she made a bold and unapologetic decision to come out of isolation and into a crowded public arena. Her goal? Just to be able to touch the hem of his garment, to be in his presence. This woman who was unseen, unnoticed, unheard, unloved for years was finally present, and because she took that step of courage to go against what was expected of her, she found and received her healing and her freedom. As you go into the world beyond these walls and those hallowed halls that have surrounded you at Spelman these last few years, there will be times when you may feel like the unnamed Black woman. This is especially true when you come across people in your workplace or your community, your own home, who may not see your full humanity in all your glory. But it's in those moments in particular that I want you to remember who you are. Raise your head and embody the queen that you have been prepared to be. I want you to rise above any negativity that threatens to take you off course to your greatness. Most important, I want you to remember that you as a woman and as a Black woman are joining a lineage of our trailblazers whose contributions have made history, have given birth to movements, have brought about peace and justice, and transformed lives for generations. That's who you are. You are courageous, like Mamie Till, whose life was forever changed in 1955 when her 14-year-old son Emmett was brutally murdered while visiting their family in Mississippi. Her decision to open the casket to show the world what was done to her only child by lawless men in the Jim Crow South who tortured a boy because of his blackness, put Mamie on an unexpected path of becoming history's most game-changing freedom fighter, whose pain united a nation. You may be underestimated, like Rosa Parks, who was thought to be without a voice, someone who didn't speak up for herself, much less someone else. But on one December evening in 1955 in Montgomery, Alabama, Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a bus, and that day, she historically became the mother of the freedom movement, and she boosted the fight for civil rights for Black people in this country and beyond. Cultivate your resilience like Tina Turner, who gave up everything except her name to gain freedom from abuse. Starting over and reimagining her career as a rock and roll artist, a genre that no Black woman had successfully charted. Tina Turner went on to become one of the most admired and successful artists around the world, earning an induction on her own merit into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Be unwavering, like Supreme Court Justice and fellow honorary doctorate recipient Ketanji Brown Jackson, who defied history and politically charged opposition to become the first Black woman to sit on the Supreme Court. And who spent her career ensuring, as she has said, that equal justice under the law is a reality and not just an ideal. And we thank her for standing with us and for us. We are resourceful, like our mothers and those who have mothered us along the way, who taught and continue to teach us to be women of pride and purpose who stand on their own. And we are hopeful, like my beautiful daughter Bronwyn, who I proudly witnessed grow from a shy and quiet girl to a young woman who's finding her voice and making her way. Remember this as you walk across the stage today. When the world tells you to be silent, speak up. When it tells you to stay in a place, step up. There will be times when you'll be made to feel less than, stand tall. And when you're treated as if you're not good enough, show them that you are more than enough. As I stand here, I challenge you to think about what your contributions to pushing humanity forward will be. What you will do to ensure that future generations of girls exist in a world that is one of equity and equality. What will you do to make room for little brown girls and Black girls watching you graduate today, to make sure that they have an opportunity to sit in the very space where you are right now? How will you leave the world, our planet, better than the way you found it? I know, it's a lot to think about right now, because you're probably thinking about all the fun you're gonna have tonight after the graduation, right? But hear me, and hear me well, when I say that your tomorrow starts today. Spelman class of 2024, life is not linear. You will experience detours on your journey. But just because something doesn't happen how and when you want it to, it doesn't mean you give up hope. It doesn't mean it's a failure. Instead, embrace it as a gateway to infinite possibilities. It's understandable that you may be hurt or disappointed. After all, you are human. But still, you owe it to yourself and everyone who loves you to never give up. kind, be compassionate. Each day we have an opportunity to make a contribution, to do something, even if that contribution is a gift that we selflessly give to another. Your studies are complete, but you are just getting started. Now I'd like you to do something for me. Take the hand of the sister sitting next to you. And now, take a deep breath with me. Keep holding your Spelman sister's hand. And I want you to use all the breath in your lungs to say your name out loud together for the world to hear. What is your name? And say with me, I am a Spelman woman. Remember this moment. Ooh, you are not an unnamed black woman. You are not alone. You are seen. You are heard. You are surrounded by the love and support of your family, your friends, your Spelman sisters, and your squad. And with the protection of that unity covering you, together, we are all courageous, resilient, hopeful, and unwavering, especially in the face of anyone who dares to underestimate us. One of my favorite poet laureates, Langston Hughes, once said, "Hold fast to your dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. It's your time to fly." As the word says, be strong and bold. Banish fear and doubt, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Spelman College class of 2024, let's go! Thank you again for having me, and congratulations to each and every one of you. You're good.